Welcome back, Fayettes and Fantasy Fiends, to an episode we are not really looking forward to doing. You're listening to Book for Two. I'm Scott.
And I'm Genevieve. If you're new here, welcome to our brand of chaos.
We bring the male and female perspectives, the wild theories, the heated debates, and of course,
banter you never knew you needed, but now you can't escape.
She likes her books loaded with spice, betrayal, and enough brooding fae males to make a Shadow Daddy pinup calendar.
And he likes his with apocalyptic stakes, cinematic fight scenes, and character trauma that hits harder than a Marvel post-credit scene.
This episode is going to be a little different from the rest because this is our first time having to do this.
But stick around to the end of the episode for our big announcement.
Now, a few updates before we get into the heavy stuff. We are teaming up with the crew from Fantastic Podcast for a special episode.
We'll be fancasting Quicksilver, talking about the audiobook and finding out whether Scott finished it or really rage quit.
That one records September 21st, so stay tuned for when it drops.
And don't forget, Book Club. Next meetup is next Monday, September 15th, and we're reading The Floating World by Axie.
It's got that Final Fantasy meets Studio Ghibli feel, and I've enjoyed it so far.
Yes, and if you're local, join us at Salt and Story Bookstore in Niceville. If you're not local, no worries. We'll be live streaming on Discord.
Links are in the socials, or email us at bookfor2podcast@gmail if you want in.
Oh, and while we're talking about ways to track your reads, have you heard of Storygraph yet?
It's basically Goodreads if Goodreads divorced Amazon, went to therapy, and leveled up.
Okay, you can tag books however you want, make curated lists, you can track your DNF pile, even use half and quarter stars so you don't have to round up your 3.75 out of pity.
And the cool part, you can pick books by mood: adventurous, funny, fast-paced, or dark, slow, and emotional. I think I hit them all right.
Yeah, I think so.
Mix and match. It's like Spotify, but for your TBR.
Fabulous. Plus, it has built-in content warnings, so you can dodge those surprise eyeball gouging chapters before you're too far in.
You can even read with friends. Drop live reactions at certain points without spoiling anything. And if you don't have reading buddies, the app will suggest some for you.
It's basically your new bookish bestie. So my handle is Booked with Genevieve, and Scott's is, yep, you guessed it, Booked with Scott.
All right, so what book are you currently doing on Storygraph?
All right, so I'm currently reading For Whom the Bell Tolls by J.C. Lynn. I am already about 80% in, and I can't even tell you how many times I've laughed.
Facts.
Cried.
Facts.
Kicked my feet, giggling, and then cried again. Bree and Kat know exactly what I'm talking about. Bree and I are at the same point in the book. The themes, they hit actually pretty hard. Loss, grief, letting go of the life you thought you'd have, found family, even what it means to live a full life after death. So basically, all the afterlife vibes. And somehow it still makes me laugh in between a lot of ugly crying.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Linda, listen. Just read it. Okay, trust me on this one. Once I finish it, I am diving into her TikTok series, which is how this whole thing started, because I need more of this world that she has created immediately. What about you? What's the first thing that you're going to do on Storygraph?
I'm currently balls deep in The Plate of Prisoner by Raven Kennedy. I just finished Gleam, and I'm ready to start Glow with everyone who patiently waited for me to catch up.
I believe Kat just started that one on Storygraph.
I'll have to start then. And don't forget, listeners, we are also doing deep dives through Storygraph. Links are in the socials and Discord.
And good news, everybody! We're bringing you more content, and not just in our heads this time, we promise.
As you've seen, we've rolled out a new segment called Booked With, just one of us, or both, diving into random bookish topics or chatting about what we're reading outside of what we're deep diving.
Basically, more of us just being us. Whether it's hyping up indie authors, deep diving into tropes like forced proximity, or just unpacking the mess that is book talk. This is your behind-the-scenes brain dump.
So be on the lookout, because you never know when an episode might pop up. In other news, we have a ton of merch available on our website, bookfor2.com.
We're talking t-shirts.
Treat yourself.
Mugs.
Treat yourself.
Notebooks.
Treat yourself.
And even vanity plates.
Treat yourself. More designs are coming, so be on the lookout. We have a Cadre t-shirt coming for all you Throne of Glass fans.
I'm so excited about that. Also, huge thanks to everyone who supported us already. You're the reason we get to keep spiraling on mic. Okay, before we hit play on the trauma, quick warning. This episode contains spoilers for Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider. Consider this your official spoiler shield.
Lastly, heads up, this is an adult content show. We do swear, like we are in an episode on Sopranos. Talk about murder like it's a kink, and when the spice hits, let's just say we do not fade to black. You've been warned. And you're welcome. All right, before we dive into the trauma, it is our favorite time. Shameless plug time. Sub, review, follow us on socials, do all the algorithm things because we do love our bookish community. So if you know anyone at all who loves books and would fit in with our vibes, send them our info.
If you're not already following us on socials, now's the time. Sneak peeks, unfiltered commentary, the occasional random live. Our Thursday night TikTok lives happen every week at 7:30 p.m. Central, and the rest, total wild card energy. Sometimes we deep dive, sometimes Scott gets bullied into reading spicy bits. Either way, it's a good time. Come hang out.
Also, get your ass in our Discord. If you've ever screamed about a plot twist at 2 a.m. and wanted someone to scream back, we've got you. The bookish crew is growing fast, and it really is unhinged in the best way.
It is.
Links in the show notes and on socials, so come yell with us.
Also, if you're looking for book recs, check out our current favorites on Amazon. We've got a running list linked in our link tree. Yes, we know we're enabling your TBR pile. You're welcome.
Last but not least, check out the merch. We got stickers, t-shirts, and more up at bookfor2.com. Get your dark hallmark on.
All right. Spoiler warning's been dropped. The tea is hot, and the chaos is ready.
So, let's get into it. Why we DNF'd Metal Slinger and what that says about the current state of Romantasy.
Ooh, let's turn the page. Hey, unfortunately, we decided to DNF Metal Slinger at chapter 20.
In this episode, we're breaking down why we chose to DNF Metal Slinger, what didn't work, what did work, and what might have helped this thing stick the landing. We'll also zoom out and get into the messier side of Romantasy right now, vibe readers versus technical readers, and how to stop sinking hours into books that just don't fit your style. Oh, and yeah, we're also talking about the new book app that is going to destroy Goodreads, in my opinion.
I like it.
And finally, we'll lock in the next deep dive, for real this time, and let you know when it kicks off. So buckle up because you're officially safe from any more Acker flirt attempts.
Oh, jeez. All right, we really hate doing episodes like this. But when we started this podcast, we promised ourselves we'd always be honest with our listeners. So we're not chasing clout or fake excitement. Still, take everything we say with a grain of salt.
Yes.
We are not critics.
Nope.
We're just two book nerds who love to talk stories. Sometimes a book doesn't click, and we think it's important to share why. That doesn't mean it's a bad book. If you loved it, we're happy for you. Seriously. Truly. What doesn't land for us might be someone else's favorite, and that's okay.
Now, we're going to get a little personal with you first. We're going to explain why we, Genevieve and I, read the way we do. Now, those of us that personally know us know that we are neurodivergent. I am diagnosed with and currently being evaluated for autism, which would put me in the AuDHD category. Jen is also in a similar situation. Both of us are also what's called high masking. So what does that mean?
Well, if you're not familiar, AuDHD is an unofficial term for having both ADHD and autism. Think 1 foot on the gas and 1 on the brake. ADHD is flooring it, chasing novelty and excitement. Autism is slamming the brake, craving structure and predictability. You move forward, but it's jerky and exhausting.
Perfect analogy. Now, another example would be one day I might be craving socialization and want to go out with friends, but that same night drains my social battery so much that I don't want to leave the house again for an entire week. Now, that constant push and pull is just part of the deal.
And to be clear, AuDHD doesn't mean you have all the traits of ADHD or autism. Both are spectrums. No two people experience them in exactly the same way. Scott and I experience them completely differently.
Yes. On top of that, we're both high masking. That means we've learned how to appear normal by copying social cues of neurotypical people. It's why people are surprised when they hear that we're neurodivergent and why some friends and family struggle to believe us, even with a diagnosis.
And masking is exhausting.
It is.
Imagine with me, if you will, living in a foreign country where you don't speak the language. You're constantly copying others just to fit in. Now imagine doing that every single day of your life. That's what masking has felt like.
So why share this? Because it directly affects how we read. Now, I'm what's called a technical reader, so for me, the story, plot, writing often makes sense. If something doesn't line up logically, I can't gloss over it at all. And I'm also a deeply empathetic reader, so I put myself in the character's shoes to understand their emotions and choices. Kale. Tamlin. That combination means that I struggle with books that lean only on vibes or tropes without strong execution. And that's why when we DNF a book, this is usually my reason.
I used to be full-on vibes read.
Yes.
If a book made me feel something, it was good. If I read it really quickly, it was good. But after deep diving Sanderson and SJM and Raven Kennedy, yeah. So essentially, once you've tasted better, it's hard to go back to boxed wine. The vibes still matter. Now the writing matters more than it used to.
And now with all that said, before we dive in to what didn't work, we do want to highlight what did, because there were things that did work.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, we felt the world was unique and fun. What did you like about it?
All right. I thought the world was interesting and unique. Definitely a place I wanted to explore, especially Alaha. In my head, was having a hard time envisioning it and actually went online to look at fanfic art because I didn't get the description in the book that I wanted. I feel like it had a lot of potential for deeper lore, to visit more of the places. That's one of the best things about fantasy, I feel, is you get to create your own world. But it's also risky because if that world isn't fleshed out, if the foundation isn't there, it cracks. It's terrible. Think of books like Lightlark or Guild. The names, the systems, they're simple, but the world building still feels complete. It feels lived in. I felt like I was there. I could envision it.
I 100% agree with you, and I want to add a little something to that.
Yeah.
I like the mention of Lightlark and Guild because they are very simple, and so is the Knight and the Moth. The maps are simple. The places were simply named, but they were believable because they drew us into the world. I don't care if it's called First Kingdom, Second Kingdom, Third, whatever. Did you draw me into that world? Do I believe that there is a First Kingdom and that is how the world is? Somebody just number system the kingdoms. It's not that unbelievable, but I just didn't feel drawn into the Alaha or Kenta. I didn't feel I was in that world.
I just now realized that they didn't bother naming the first, second, and through.
Oh, you never noticed that?
I was like, what? Yeah, I never noticed that. So, see?
But that's what I mean by you can keep it simple and it still work. You don't have to create this complex world because in the Plated Prisoner series, that's not the focus is the world. The focus is the story and the trauma.
And the character growth.
But she still created a real world to me. I still believe that Sixth Kingdom is frozen and
it's different than the Fourth Kingdom.
And they were miserable going through the barren waste and all that. Like, I believed all that. But when they're out on this boat, I was like, this feels like it could be a great water world situation, but I'm not feeling it.
Yes. I was expecting water world vibes, but
instead I got Truman Show vibes.
I got Truman Show and Moana on a boat going into a storm.
Yeah.
But there was really good magic system, right? Did you like the magic system?
Yes, the little taste that we had of the magic system sounded very interesting. So when he was able to move the knife like Magneto, I thought that was pretty cool. And it was also clever the way Mother Nature gifted all the different leaders magic, like the way that magic is explained. Okay, Mother Nature did this. That's new. I really don't see that a lot. Usually it's just, oh, they're born this way. Or like some gods. Yeah,
gifted it to them.
All the gods. But this was like, okay, Mother Nature gifted them for taking care of the land. That's cool. And like I said, the way he shot the daggers at people was pretty dope. That writing wasn't that bad. Her action writing actually wasn't that bad.
I enjoyed the action parts.
Yeah, like when she picked up her knife for the first time. Like that scene was well written. I felt like I was the dagger in the ocean being picked up by her. But then it was like, what happened to the rest? Now I'm being told instead of shown again.
Yep. Back to that again.
Yeah. And let's be clear, there's definitely potential in this book. The world building has sparks of something great, and plenty of readers obviously agree because it has a 4.3 rating on Goodreads with over 80,000 reviews.
Like, those people can't all be wrong. So, like, it's,
Yeah, so clearly the story is connecting with people, and that is the great thing about reading is we bring different tastes. So what falls flat for one person can shine for another, which is why we talk about vibes, not so much versus technical reading, but it has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, it does. Unfortunately, the bad far outweighed the good for us. Let's start with the basics. How did we feel about the writing style itself?
So I'm going to start with the pros. It felt very mechanical. So like this happened, and that happened, and this happened, and that happened. So we were able to follow the plot and the story, but it felt like someone was telling us what was happening versus immersing us in the world.
Didn't we just read something like that? Was that Heavenly Body? Ooh.
And the other issue is I am not feeling her feelings. And we're in the first person point of view, and I need access into her inner thoughts or emotions if you're going to do first person. And that's the whole point of being in her head. With third person, you can do a little bit more telling, but even then, you still need to pull the audience into the experience. Now, first person is tricky. If our narrator doesn't notice foreshadowing or process twists, then we don't either. And that was another issue with this book, is there was twists like her mother being alive, but there was no hint at it. And we did learn of some of the other plot twists. And I was,
But there are things that we should have received in the first
Yes.
person, thought wise or action wise,
Yes.
or cringing or flinching or something inside her that we knew about.
now with the whole Kai situation, there were a few times where she said she felt warm from his touch, but to me, that still doesn't say, oh, I should watch out for that. Because to me, that's just, okay, he's a good friend. I feel warm from a touch from you, my wife, or like a good friend who's trying to calm me down. To me, that makes me feel emotional and warm. So that doesn't really say, oh, there's a hint at Kai controlling her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it would have worked better in third person.
I
I really do. I think this could have worked really well in third person. Or we just needed more of her emotions or italicized side thoughts. I don't know.
Well, yes, third person would have done better for this type of author because she's more telling. Yes. First person is hard to do because you have to put yourself in that character's mindset the entire book. You cannot lax from it. And I have to feel that person's feelings.
Yeah, you can't hide the feelings with it.
So that segues into the next question. So
Yeah.
what are our thoughts on the characters overall?
I feel like for the both of us, actually, they felt
Agreed.
But the archetypes, they were there. They all checked off a list. The Tamlin type love interest who upsets the FMC. Check. The funny party guy. Check. The badass chaos gremlin female friend. Check. But beyond those, I didn't really care for any of them.
Neither did I.
Messy was the only one with some depth. He was your favorite so far. His humor masking trauma from his father at least made him feel real, a little more so than everybody else. Kai was supposed to be toxic, but we didn't really get that. So when the reveal came that he was manipulating Bryn, you felt jarred.
It just didn't feel right. Like
Yeah.
I didn't hate him for it.
There was no indication.
I wasn't upset at him.
I wasn't either. And then Captain Rin, same. He was framed as the big bad wolf. I didn't pick up on any villain vibes from him either.
You heard me say it in chapters 1 through 7. I was like, this guy seems nice.
Why am I supposed to hate him?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like there was any groundwork for him being a mastermind antagonist
Yeah.
or anything.
And then there's Acker, who is, and I'll be honest, my least favorite MMC I've read so far.
Ooh, even over Kingfisher?
It's a little different because with Kingfisher, even though I didn't like the way he was crass towards her, it still made sense for his character. I just didn't like it personally.
Okay.
When it comes to Acker, the writing just didn't fit because what I think the author was trying to do is write a slick and sly character like a Rezan, Carrion, or a Slade, which is
Oh.
extremely tough to do if you've ever met a charmer in real life. And that's what these guys are. They're charmers. And if the charm and banter doesn't land, it's not going to read sexy and it's going to read as cringe.
And that's kind
or
of how
lame.
we felt about the banter. It was
Exactly.
cringe at times.
I'll have to be honest, we laughed a little bit because it was like weird. And so I'm just being honest.
Awkward in the segues. It was
And because it felt like he was flirting just to flirt and it was at odd and inappropriate times. Now, with those other characters, their charisma is backed by real depth. Their behavior makes sense because the groundwork is there. With Acker, there was no groundwork.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of
Yeah.
Acker, let's talk about this romance. I'm
Lack
putting
of.
quotes here. This is a romantasy, right?
Yeah.
How do we feel about the banter between mates?
We talked about it a little bit, but you can probably hit on it here more.
It felt forced.
did.
It was like the author wanted to establish instantly that he was sly and sexy immediately. But when your MMC is literally tortured and he's starving and he's half drowned and the FMC is swooning over him, The tone
Yeah.
didn't match. I didn't actually really ever feel any chemistry between them.
No.
Maybe it was later, but instead of sparks, just felt like constant cringe. the
And
whole
this is
time.
why I feel bad being a technical reader, because the part where they were in the brig and she was trying to save him and he was drowning, he's starving, he's emaciated looking, and she's just talking about how good looking he is, and he's also in there where he's almost drowning, like being slick and slide. In a real life situation, no matter how hot they are, I would not.
Like, you're not all sarcastic when you're about to
No,
die.
and I'm gonna save them. And there was one line, it was like, despite that he was starving or something like, or the fact, despite that he looked like he was starving, he looked. I'll have to find. Hold on.
Despite the hunger and exhaustion lining his features, he's still breathtaking. There you go.
Yeah, that was just such a weird line to me. Wow, they're trying to save their lives, and it was, things just didn't add up,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
It was just awkward. There was no natural progression for it.
And then there was talk of cooties at one point. That-
We didn't even actually make it to
We just read a few more.
just to make sure. Before we actually did this episode, I read to chapter 29. No. Just no.
Yeah. So let's talk about the world building and pacing.
Okay. Yeah.
We did say that the world had promise, but there were still issues.
Yep.
The pacing was uneven. The
Mhm.
first 7 chapters felt a little rushed. It felt like it was just there to get us to the. And then after escaping Laha in chapter 15, we're stuck on a boat from chapters 16 through 25, and almost nothing happens.
Yeah. Instead, we just get info dumped, lore and backstory through casual conversation and a couple dreams. There's no sense of discovery. It's here's what happened over the past 10 years. By the way, your mom's still alive. Those could have been huge emotional moments
Yeah.
for Bren to uncover for herself. Instead, they were just handed to us on a little platter. And then there's the jargon. Let's talk about the jargon real quick. 10 chapters, it seems, of sailor terms that most readers won't know or care about. Cool, if you're a sailor. That explains it. As the readers, it didn't add anything to the story for me. We actually started skipping over paragraphs and sentences that were talking about all of the
Yeah.
sailing terms. Those were by far the most descriptive paragraphs.
We did talk a little bit this morning because you mentioned the part about the mother reveal. Oh, your mother's alive. And as a person who has lost a mother personally to death at 5 years old, had I found out 8, 10 years later that my mother was alive, I would have went fucking crazy, emotional, but there was nothing. And I just felt that was so weird. I'm like, you find out your mother's alive, you find out you're a prince, you find out all this shit, and you're just like, cool. You want to do some more push-ups? With all that said, this isn't the first book we've seen blow up on TikTok and Goodreads only to leave us disappointed. So for this last segment, we want to talk about how we see the Romantasy genre as a whole and how to find books that actually fit your taste so you don't end up DNFing as often.
All right, so do you feel that Romantasy is becoming oversaturated?
I do, but that happens to every genre once it pops off. So right now it's Romantasy. Back in the 2010s, it was dystopian YA. And same thing happens with TV, movies, music. When something explodes, everybody wants in. Boy bands, K-pop. And suddenly the market is flooded. And when quantity goes up, quality goes down. In the 90s, romance novels were all the cookie cutter Fabio covers, and now it's the Shadow Daddy era. That's where my Dark Hallmark nickname comes in, because books like this are for people who love the tropes and vibes no matter what. And the story almost doesn't matter. They just want to feel something. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong
It's
with that.
the same as the Christmas Hallmark movies, hence Dark Hallmark.
Yep,
Everyone knows they're formulaic, but they love them anyways.
cut and paste.
The issue comes when audiences burn out in the same recycled beats, then the bubble pops and the genre thins out while everyone chases the next hot thing. And honestly, I fear Romantasy is getting close to that bubble. Now, do you think reader types might be influencing the quality?
Ooh, reader types. You know, I think so. I see reader types like a spectrum, actually. On one end, you've got full-on vibes readers. Think people who plan their calendars around the Hallmark Christmas movie drops. On the other end, you've got the technical readers, the I only watch Oscar films because Marvel is beneath me crowd. And most of us actually fall somewhere in between. And I personally used to lean way more vibes. Scott leans way more technical, but Scott still needs to feel something, and I still need the story to make sense. So we overlap, and that's the key. There's no wrong way to read. Whether you think the book is good or not is 100% subjective. For example, some of us revere Labyrinth as peak cinema.
Facts.
And then there are those people who are completely wrong. Just kidding.
Hey.
All right. So, question for you then.
Yep.
How can we as readers try to stay away from books that aren't our style and find ones that might become our next Roman Empire?
All right. First, you lean into community. What that means is Book Talk, Bookstagram, Goodreads, and Storygraph.
Okay.
There's no reason you can't find reviewers who share your tastes. If someone consistently likes what you like, their recs are probably going to land more often than not.
I'm going to tack on to that. Be careful with giant influencers.
Yes.
When every book they review is suddenly a 5-star life changer, that should be a red flag. Not saying why, but let's just say honesty gets blurry when money or clout is involved.
Third, give honest reviews yourself. If a book made you cry once, does that really make it a 5-star? If the last 100 pages were great, but the first 300 pages dragged, should it automatically just be a 5-star? Reviews that balance emotion with craft not only help other readers, but it helps the authors as well.
And if you're ever asked to be an ARC reader or a beta reader, be brutally honest.
Yes.
Authors need to hear where the plot holes are, if the romance isn't working, if the pacing drags or is too fast. It doesn't hurt feelings. It's meant to make the book better.
Now, I've only been in the Romantasy world for about a year now, and I'm loving it reading with my wife. I just don't want to see the genre nosedive because we went on autopilot. Fantasy is already one of the hardest genres to write. You're building an entire world from scratch. Add in a romance that feels organic instead of forced, and it's even tougher. And not everybody can pull it off.
Nope, they can't. Nope, not everyone can. But we love this genre, and we care enough about it and about you that we felt we needed to make this episode.
Now, we've mentioned Storygraph a few times, so what is Storygraph?
All right. Storygraph is another reader app. It's like Goodreads, but with the features Goodreads should have had years ago. We're not getting paid to say this. It's just an app that Kat put me onto, and some of our listeners are already on there. So my username on there is Booked with Genevieve, and Scott's is Booked with Scott.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, really tough.
Now, the big draw to this app is personalized recommendations. Storygraph tracks your reading moods, genres, pacing, even how dark or light a book feels. Then it recommends books based on your actual reading habits, not just what's popular. And yes, for those of us like me, we can finally use quarter stars. For all of us obsessive nut jobs who can't live with just a 4.5 or a 3.5, this makes ratings way more accurate now.
It makes me have to do stars, which I don't appreciate.
You can stick to your half stars or whatever, full stars.
It also has way better tracking tools than Goodreads. You get clean graphs and stats that actually show your reading trends. And most importantly, it's indie owned. It's not Amazon. It's not Bezos. Hopefully never. Piece of shit.
Yeah.
You can also buddy read in real time with your friends, leaving notes on specific chapters and pages as you go. So come join us on Storygraph. Again, we're booked with Scott and booked with Genevieve. We'd love to connect with you guys there. Come hang out.
All right, it is time to announce our next deep dive. We'll be covering Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss.
Nice.
This one's a modern take on the Greek gods with a quirky, hilarious FMC named Alexis, and we've already read the first part, and we are 100% in no DNFing. Now, there is a content warning, which Genevieve is going to read here.
This is a story of dark romance and darker obsession. Please note that it contains themes that may be triggering for some readers. There is violence, depictions of murder, stalking, suicidal thoughts, bullying, explicit language, and betrayal. For a full list, please see the author's website, jasminemossbooks.com. It's a slow burn, but there are open door scenes. Please take care of yourself.
We will be reading this before every episode for anyone joining in fresh, and if any of these are triggering for you, please read with caution.
Our first Blood of Hercules episode will drop on September 25th. Next week, though, we'll be on vacation in Orlando for the Sleep Token concert. I'm so excited. We may sneak in a Booked With episode that Thursday, so be on the lookout for that. So once again, Our next deep dive officially kicks off September 25th with Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss. We are super excited for this one, and we can't wait to dive in with you.
Now, unfortunately, Metal Slinger just wasn't for us, but maybe it's for you. And honestly, I don't love doing episodes like this because I hate the idea of steering someone away from a book they might have enjoyed. But I guess that's part of being an influencer is we have to share the truth of our experience even when it's not glowing.
Yeah. That said, there is promise in Rachel Schneider's writing. She clearly has big creative ideas, and with more technical ARC readers and beta feedback, those ideas could shine even brighter. And if by chance you're listening, Miss Schneider, we're sorry this one didn't land for us, but we want you to know we see the talent. You're absolutely on our radar, and we'd love to check out your future work.
At the end of the day, the biggest takeaway is this. Read what you love.
Yes.
Don't let us or anybody else make that choice for you. Take our opinions with a grain of salt, share your thoughts, and keep exploring stories that light you up.
And as always, keep turning the page.